Hi, it's John and welcome to the channel. It is 5:24 a.m. It is the 8th of May with the big blue mug of coffee. Hope you're having a great day today. It is awesome here in Alberta, here in Calgary. I was out bike riding yesterday, had one of the greatest bike rides yesterday, did about 50K, getting my kilometers up for this summer's big rides. And thanks for being here. I do appreciate it. If you've subscribed to the channel, thanks so much. Click on subscribe and we'll get our way to 35,000 subscribers here. So a little bit of everything today, but focusing on Canadian federal politics, a little bit of provincial politics, maybe touching on Quebec a bit. It depends on how this kind of works out over the next about 5 to 10 minutes. But you know what I find is fascinating? People seem to forget things really quick in Canada. It's like squirrel, everybody's running off to the next thing and forgetting where we actually are in the country. What's the talk right now? Well, a lot of talk about Donald Trump and Mark Carney sitting down at the White House the other day. Elbows up, trending on X this morning. And I mean, Carney's just getting savaged with this. Clyde, do something. Canadian boomers waiting for those elbows up, but only seeing thumbs up. Everyone, this is an old one, but everyone voting for Carney in Peterborough today chanting elbows up. This confirms my theory that Canada is an R colony. Trump calls out Chrystia Freeland, calling her a terrible, and mocks Governor Trudeau in front of Carney, and he just sits there. Mark couldn't even get a word in. Trump walked all over him. Marty up north. And then you've got this one, elbows up team got a beat down. And here's Dean Skoreko out of BC. Not one Canadian reporter has asked Mark Carney about his elbows up buddy Mike Myers. Tell me they aren't fully controlled by the Liberals. Oh, wait, Mike Myers is being implicated in that Diddy thing that's going on in the United States. So, yeah, an absolute beatdown on elbows up. And I don't think it went well for Carney the other day. But so many people saying we need to give him a chance. And it's in relation to the United States, the connection with the tariffs. And in relation to unity within the country, of course, there's the separation movement out here in Alberta. But people say, I'm going to get to some video, by the way, of Brian Lilley talking to Danielle Smith. It's good. It's a good interview he did. Brian's doing great work. I'll put a link in the description so you can watch the whole thing. I'll give you a couple of clips here. So it's how Carney's dealing with Donald Trump and how Carney's dealing with Alberta and the separatist movement out here and the unity of the country. But people seem to forget all the things that Mark Carney said he was going to do as the Prime Minister of Canada. Now, unfortunately, Canada still has a Prime Minister, and I'm still under the Prime Minister until we separate and become our own country here. So I still have to deal with Mark Carney, but people seem to forget things like his immigration. He says he's going to lower immigration to around 5% of Canada's population. Well, do the math, folks. We have 41 million people in the country. 5% of 41 million is 2 million people a year. He's flooding the country with more immigrants. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. He's talking about a housing corporation run by the government of Canada. That's going to be an absolute blank show. And then he wants to talk about raising deficits. Well, here's Franco Terrazzano from the Canadian Taxpayer Federation. You've probably seen this, but people seem to forget all of the ridiculous things this guy promised during the campaign, but he got elected because of elbows up, folks.
Carney wants to add $225 billion to the debt.
Everyone seems to forget what this guy talked about during the whole campaign. Everybody's focusing on the tariffs. Big issue, which will work its way out eventually. And this left-wing lunatic nutcase, who's now the Prime Minister of the country, will still be here. And he even promised more crazy things. He's a nut. And I don't want him to be successful. Everybody's saying, we got to give him a chance. No. I'm reminded once again, and I've mentioned this on my channel ages ago. A lot of you weren't here before, but the late, great Rush Limbaugh, God rest his soul. I remember when Obama was elected, I was listening to his show. Here it is from Limbaugh's webpage right here. He was asked to write 400 words on the promise and the hope for the Obama administration. And basically, Rush's answer was, I don't need 400 words, I need 4. I hope he fails. And that's how I feel about Mark Carney, because he's a left-wing lunatic nutcase. Now, Brian Lilley did this interview with Danielle Smith. And I'm kind of switching channels here, but it's kind of in the same vein because it's talking about Mark Carney. And we know who this guy is. I don't have to get into the net zero stuff, but we're getting closer there right now because Brian Lilley asks about Mark Carney dealing with the oil and gas industry in Alberta, and this is what the Premier had to say.
The Prime Minister's job is to ensure national unity. Has he made any comments, any overtures to you that would make you say, you know what, maybe we can find common ground on something that will lower the temperature on this issue?
What I will say is we've had a conversation, and I'm hoping to have many more, where I put those 9 issues on the table, and he didn't say no to any of them. Didn't say, yes, I'm going to address them all. But the fact that his first reaction was not no says to me that we have some common ground to start on.
You know what I find fascinating about this is there's a question that can be asked of the guy who's now the Prime Minister and get an answer from him. You could ask him one question and resolve this whole issue in a minute, but nobody seems to ask him. Doesn't seem even Danielle Smith, who does not need my advice, who's a smart lady, she doesn't seem to want to ask the question either. He hasn't said yes to what I want, but he hasn't said no. Ask him. Just ask him. Maybe a reporter should ask him. We know before the election, Mark Carney was asked if he would repeal Bill C-69. This is what he had to say.
Do you plan to repeal Bill C-69?
We do not plan to repeal Bill C-69.
Ask him about C-69 right now. He hasn't said yes. He hasn't said no. Why? Did you ask him? Ask him for 3 of the 9. C-69 tanker ban, what? Net zero electricity. Will you get rid of these things? Yes or no? Maybe somebody in the media should ask him. But who cares? I don't care as an Alberta separatist if he gives you all 9 things, because the rest of the things he says he's going to do for the country are going to do it in anyway. We're better off getting the hell out. That's my point here, folks. Have we forgotten what he's about? And is he going to give in all of these things that have to deal with climate change? Mr. Climate Change himself. Now, this guy didn't run in the election. He's no longer an MP. But this sentiment is prevalent through the whole Liberal caucus. It's exactly what they believe. Mark Holland, former MP. Watch this.
Good news, kids. You can take a summer fun time vacation where you're locked in a car for 10 consecutive days, nonstop with no bathroom breaks, and the Conservatives have a plan for you to have that summertime fun. And the cost? Give up the future of the planet, right? Don't worry, kids, about climate change. Don't worry about taking action on the planet. Enjoy your 10 hours in the car and let the planet burn.
That's exactly who the Liberals are. They're out of their minds. But you all of a sudden think they're going to say, Mark, Mr. Prime Minister, it's perfectly fine. Alberta wants to start pumping more oil, so let's burn the planet down, when that's actually who they are. A leopard doesn't change its spots that quickly, folks. Not a chance, unless they're lying about it, and I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them. But these are the same people who call us traitors out here in Alberta because we're separatists. Talk about sedition, we're getting threatened online by people. It's disgusting. But that's who the Liberals are. Brian Lilley asks about, kind of bringing the temperature down when it comes to this issue. Here's what Premier Smith had to say.
Post-election, there's a lot of anger. There's a lot of heat. I would say that anywhere from...
How do you turn that down then? How do you deal with bringing the temperature down? I've heard some people say, Pierre Poilievre deciding to run where he is, and Battle Creek Crowfoot, that is a good idea, that could help bring it down, that you could help bring it down. And Scott Moe is making comments in his province to bring it down. How do you bring that down?
Mark Carney has to bring it down.
Mark Carney cannot bring down the temperature on the independence movement here in Alberta. And if you are an independence-minded person who thinks giving in to Alberta on any number of these things that Danielle Smith has asked for is going to change things, you need to change your mind. Yes, the federal government has tried to destroy the oil and gas industry out here. I know people who lost their jobs in the industry. It's taken away hundreds of billions of dollars in investment from Alberta, yes. But it's all the other things that the Liberals did over 10 years that helped to put people in food lines, homelessness, high home prices, high rent prices, drugs in the street, all of those things as well. And Mark Carney's even worse. Do we want to be part of the sinking ship? I don't. Canadian unity cannot be changed simply because he says yes to Bill C-69 and getting rid of the tanker ban, which I don't think he's going to do anyway. This is a left-wing lunatic nutcase, as I said a number of times in this video, and I hope he fails. Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. Please share it if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. Onwards to 35,000 subscribers here. Ring the bell for notifications, and I will see you in the next one.